Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the stream. What a beautiful day today in New York, finally, after a long, gloomy week. So, today is a very exciting day for me because I'm going to start the series of down the East Coast bush trip that I planned using Little Nav Map, and shortly I'll show you everything as we go. And just give me a second, I'll set up something real quick and we'll be good to go. Okay, with that out of the way, let's go ahead. So this bush trip, basically, let me drag Little Nav map. So here you can see we planned it all the way from Long Island MacArthur Airport in Long Island, New York, down to Key West, Florida, over multiple legs, and I'm very excited to do it. Some of the reasons why I really wanted to do this bush trip is to teach myself more about VFR flying, and that's why we are going to be flying the Piper Arrow by JustFlight. I'm very excited about this aircraft as well. A lot of learning to go with because I have no experience flying this aircraft. I did one or two check flights before the stream, so I'm not sure how it's gonna go, but I'm actually very excited to test the aircraft. Heard a lot of good reviews about it, so this will be fun. And when we're cruising, I'll talk more about the bush trip and what are my goals out of this bush trip. Well, one of the major goals is to learn how to fly this aircraft. It is very fun to fly, actually. I have everything mapped up, and I think we can go ahead and get started. So let's head inside the cockpit. I really love how it looks. And the first thing that we're gonna do is weight and balance. So let's go ahead and fuel up. We have 50% fuel, so not bad. What we are gonna change is we do not need a co-pilot, and we are going to add about 100 pounds for center of gravity, and we'll carry our luggage for the bush trip. So we have around 231 pounds of fuel. I'll just increase that a little bit so we don't have to refill on our next stop maybe. So we have 323 pounds of fuel right now, and that should be good. Now that we are done with that, let's go ahead and do our first steps. Also, we're going to be flying using the old system that I have very little experience with, and we're going to be flying VOR to VOR for this bush trip. So let's go ahead, turn on our master first, making sure all our fuel tank is good. That looks good to me. So we are going to put our fuel tank to left to start with, and from there we can go ahead, turn our nav lights, beacon lights, and landing and strobe. So in this aircraft the lighting system is a little bit different compared to what I've been flying lately, but that should work. And then from there, quickly check flight controls. Yep, everything looks good to me. I'll just remove that. All the switches are in, making sure of that. And then we can go ahead and start turning on our aircraft. So alternator can come on. We'll put our fuel cutoff mixture actually all the way rich. Propeller can go all the way up, and then we're going to bring down our mixture. We'll put a little bit of throttle, and then we'll put our fuel pump. Actually, no, fuel pump can go all the way up, and then we are going to turn on our engine. Oh, okay, hold up, let me give it one more try. There you go. So now we're gonna put our RPM to about 1400 to 1500, adjusting for that. Also, our fuel pump can come to off. Okay, for our flight setup, I think this should be good. Okay, now the way that I'm gonna be flying this aircraft with no GPS or anything is basically this screenshot that I have. So this has all the VORs and all the airports. So the first leg of this flight will be from Long Island MacArthur Airport to Atlantic City International Airport in New Jersey. The VOR we are using is Sierra Yankee November Coyle, and we are going to be tracking that at 240 course. So let's go ahead and set these frequencies. So the first one is 113.4. So 113, and we'll go to 4. I don't know what this is, but let's go ahead and check what this button is. Okay, press to test. Okay, well, we'll leave that to it. But yeah, 113.4. And also another VOR that I would set up is the Atlantic City VOR, which we're not gonna need to use, but I'll just set it up just for the sake. So 108 and decimal 6. Also, what we are gonna do is, so these two are our nav1 and nav2 indicators, and we're gonna set the course. So for the first one, we are setting the course of 240. So that's where we are going to be, that's the heading we're going to be tracking. So 240 should be this. Now that we have that, what else we're going to do is, what I would want to do is set my second nav to the runway heading of our arrival airport. So first of all, let's try to get, because this works sometimes and doesn't other times, our meter information. So let's see if it captures. I don't think it will. Yeah, I do not think it will get the, but at least we have for our departure airport. So we can see that winds are 230 at 12, gusting to 23 knots. Well, some strong wind. So if that is 230, then what runway selection do we have? For that, I can actually open up Navigraph. I hope it's logged in. Yeah, it is actually logged in. Great. So let's unload this flight and we'll search Kilo India Sierra Papa. So here we have, so our wind is 230, which means we are going to be using the 24 runway 24. Will basically get out of here, go through Bravo 4, and then echo all the way to the runway. Yep, this is our plan. So we're gonna do that, and yeah, this should be good. We'll take runway 24. The heading is 239, so almost the same heading as our tracking heading. So we are good with that, and altimeter is 3023. So let's go ahead, set our altimeter as well. I'll move the charts out of the way, keeping it somewhere here. So altimeter is 3023. So 3023. Okay, this should be good for our altimeter. And other than that, we don't really need to worry about anything else right now. As we get close to our destination airport, we can get the METAR from there, or we can actually use let me check if Navigraph does give us any of that information. Okay, so we are going to Kilo Alpha Sierra Yankee, Atlantic City. Yeah, I don't think it is gonna give us any more information over here, but at least we can check the runways. So we have runway 04, runway 13, runway 22, and runway 31. So based on all of that, we will decide what runway to really use. For now, I'll leave it here. So for our okay, so we have our second nav set to Atlantic City, and we are gonna enter from same 240. So we're gonna set that as well. This time I'll go back, easier. So there we go, both of our nav system is set. Our heading, I'll also set our heading to 240, everything 240 today. Okay, now that we have all that set, we can set our squawk is set for VFR as well. We are not using ADF. We can go ahead, turn our Garmin. I'm not even sure how to use this. I know a little bit about how to use this one, but nothing about that. Once again, cross check 113.4 for our our Sierra. No, what is this? Yeah, sorry. What am I doing? Okay, our Charlie, Yankee, and November VOR. We have set 113.4, and we're going to be tracking at 240 for 85 nautical miles, which is around an hour. So let's go ahead and get started with the flight. We have all that. Let's turn on our and bring our iPad, and we can remove our chocks. Auto fuel selector is off. Everything looks good to me here, so let's go ahead and remove it. Okay, now that everything is set, we can go ahead, start taxiing. I will open my Navigraph charts right here, and let's go here. Okay, I have my charts open on the right. I'll move it away from the stream screen. And that is good to go. So we are gonna take Bravo 4 and Echo all the way to runway 24. Just making sure that I have checked everything else. Everything else looks to be good. So let's go ahead and start taxiing. Our parking brake can go off and we'll start moving. Once we are cruising, I'll talk more about why I decided to do this bush trip altogether. So we're going to be crossing the runway right here, runway 33 left. And once we cross that, we're going to be on taxiway Echo all the way to runway 24. think I forgot to set up my flaps, so let's set our takeoff flaps. Very strong wind, as you can see. So one of the interesting thing is the wind socks. Each of the color is around, I think it was 3 knots or 5 knots. I think it's 3 knots, yeah. 3 knots of wind. So right now we can see the sock is almost, yeah, it's around 12 knots of winds we are getting. Now we're gonna cross runway 33 right over here. Let me increase the speed just a little bit, making sure nobody's coming down. So we'll have to change our fuel tank every now and then. So before we take off, we are going to switch our fuel tank to right, and to change that is basically you turn on the fuel pump and then you switch the fuel tank. Good thing is that I have mapped everything on my Bravo switch, on my Bravo throttle quadrant switches, so it's very easy for me to change these things. So I might do some of the actions away from screen. I think I forgot one thing. Yeah, so I will set our autopilot to Omni, and then once it starts tracking, it will move to nav by itself. Also for cruising, I think we are going to go for 4,500 feet, or maybe 3,500. No, we can't go 3,000, so we're gonna go around 4,500 feet, I think. We are almost at the runway. So we'll do not the proper ground check, but we'll do a minimum ground check, making sure everything important is set. So we are going to set our parking brake here. Now that we have set our parking brake, we're gonna check all our, okay, so let's go ahead, move the mouse. So our navigation system is set, altimeter is set, flaps is set for takeoff. Fuel selector, we are going to turn on, well, we have to turn on the fuel pump anyways, so we're gonna turn on the fuel pump, and we're gonna go ahead and select our right tank. So now that we have that, everything else is looking good. We can turn off our parking brake, and we will line up on the runway. So we're going to be tracking just straight ahead. This is the good thing. We don't have to make any turns. We're simply going to go straight. We're going to rotate at around 77 knots. There you go. So we're up, gear can go up, and flaps can go up as well. So we're just gonna hold that heading. And our fuel pump can come off. winds is just slapping us right and left. So to begin with, let's turn our heading mode, and we can go ahead turn our autopilot there, and I'll control the pitch I'll control, because there is no there is vertical speed, but I'll just use my pitch to climb until we get on the nav. So let's go ahead. Let's see when we capture our VOR. The range is pretty good, 130 nautical miles, which is actually good enough. This whole leg is about 120 nautical miles, so we should be good. Our course is set to heading. Course is set to 240, and there you go, we have captured that. So now if we go to nav, so right now over here you can see that needle, which means we have captured the VOR. So we're gonna start moving, and then if you look over here, let me just go a bit closer. Right over here it says that we are about an hour away and 81 nautical miles away from our VOR, which should be correct. If we look at our image here, so we were distance 85, so we left from the airport, that obviously took 4 or 5 nautical miles, so we are around 81 nautical miles away from our VOR. So this is how we're gonna track, and it should take us about 48 minutes once we are cruising. So right now we are climbing to 4,000 feet. Once we are at 4,500, we are gonna go ahead and pitch for cruise. So I'm gonna use a hack that the developers have put in this aircraft, where we can actually, yeah, there you go, alt hold. So we are at around 4,200, which should be good for now. And now we can go ahead and set our engine for cruise. So we're gonna bring our manifold pressure, which is right here between 25 and 30. So about 30, I'll keep a little bit speed, and then our prop can come, our RPM can come to 2300 for cruise, which is about right here. So you can see our RPM 2300 and our manifold pressure around 30, which should be good. And over here in the indicator, if you see our nav one, it says 2, so we are going to the VOR, and this is basically our needle that is tracking 240. So I'm set for the cruise right now, and I'll just keep an eye on this device. I forgot what you call it. I think it's, yeah, KN62A. So we'll watch over here. We are around 44 minutes away, and everything really looks good. There should be no issues. Our fuel selector, we'll have to change our fuel selector every now and then. Right now we are on our right tank, so we'll keep an eye on that, and once we have to change, we'll move to our left tank. Username, okay, I really hope I knew your name, but hey, welcome to the stream. And right now we are flying from Long Island MacArthur Airport to Atlantic City Airport in New Jersey. So the reason why I started this very long bush trip, which is going all the way from Long Island, New York to Key West, Florida, is to learn more about VFR flying, honestly, to learn more about VOR to VOR flying. I have very minimal knowledge about that, and also to learn this new aircraft. If you watch my previous stream, you're gonna see that I fly a lot of most of my flights are on Kodiak 100. I absolutely love that aircraft, and I think if I have time today, I'll definitely stream, because I use the on-air airline manager to do career mode on Flight Simulator, and for that I always use Kodiak 100. But I also wanted to use an old aircraft, true VFR aircraft, so I decided to go ahead with the Piper Arrow by JustFlight. It is really beautiful. Like, look at this aircraft, it is so damn beautiful, and I love flying it. Whatever I've flown lately, I've really enjoyed it. So that is one of the reasons. Also, um, I do wanna go, for a long bush trip, so I decided this might be a good one. Going all the way from Long Island all the way in New York to Florida, and that's basically it. And the one other small, teeny tiny thing that I want to really get good at is flying visual routes a lot, obviously, but also doing traffic patterns on airport. So my goal here for this bush trip is whenever we go to an airport, we are going to try to get into a traffic pattern, decide a runway based on whatever winds there is. We will decide on our runway, and then we'll get into the pattern, and then do a whole pattern, or maybe we'll just enter at downwind and then go ahead and land. So these are some of the goals that I have from this bush trip, and yeah, basically that's all it's gonna be in every leg. This is the first leg, and this is first of many. Also, these videos will be available on my YouTube channel, which is Zulu Alpha 907 as well. There should be a link in the description. So I'm really excited, and I hope you guys also learned something from these streams. So right now we're gonna go over the nav one more time. So we have set our nav 1 to VOR Charlie Yankee November that we are tracking at 240, which we can see right over here a little bit. And this device here shows us that we still have 38 minutes to go. We are cruising at 113 knots, and we are about 72 nautical miles away from our VOR. So once we go to that, let's check our flight plan. So from there, once we reach our Charlie Yankee November Coyle VOR, we are going to track 210, and you'll see that the needle over here, hold up. So the needle over here is going to basically go from 2 to from, and we're going to be tracking 210, and that'll be for about 23. Let me just bring the picture back. So that will be for about 23 nautical miles or 12 minutes, and then we'll be right on top of Atlantic City International Airport. So this is it for the first leg, and let's go ahead, have a good time cruising. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna switch our fuel tank. So if you do with mouse, I'm just gonna use my Bravo throttle quadrant. So we're gonna put our fuel pump to low, and then we're gonna switch that. So let's go ahead and do that. Fuel pump goes on low, fuel selector comes to left tank. We'll leave the fuel tank for just a little bit, monitoring everything that the flight is going good. Or no change in RPM, no change in manifold pressure, so we're good. We can turn off the fuel pump. Very sunny day today. I woke up and I had to drop my wife off to work, and while I was doing that I was like, the weather seems really good. For the past like a week or two, it has been really gloomy in New York, so today I was surprised how sunny it is, how beautiful it is, but it is definitely cold out. So I decided to start the bush trip on a sunny day, beautiful day. I hope we don't get hit by major weather down the coast. One can only hope, but we'll see how it goes. So flying this aircraft, you have to do a lot of flying. Right now I am on altitude hold mode that you can do. It's a little bit of a hack, but I didn't want to keep changing my trim as I'm still getting used to this aircraft. So for now we'll use the autopilot to control our altitude, but normally what you do is use this pitch to just pitch the aircraft to follow a certain altitude, which this aircraft does really well. Maybe starting from second or maybe further down the legs, we will start doing the same thing as well. But yeah, you have to do a lot of flying in this aircraft, which is something that I really like. I've always tried to fly airliners like PMDG 737 or Phoenix A320, But recently I was like, let me try some GA aircrafts, and I started with Kodiak 100, which was a perfect choice because that plane is a delight to fly. I absolutely love flying the Kodiak 100, and I also learned a little bit about the G1000 NXI it uses, and it is just, it blows my mind. It's really, really good. But now I wanted to try something more old, more analog, so I decided to go ahead with the JustFlight PA28R Piper Aero, which was, I think, a good choice because I'm really enjoying, and this is forcing me to learn more basics about aviation, learn more about how VOR works, learn more about navigation systems and all that, and also a little bit of flight planning because this is the first time that I planned a flight using Little Nav Map, which is such a good application for free. So I used that, and I was like, let me try flying VOR. So far it's going good. We'll see how it goes in the future. This is going to be quite a long leg. Let me turn this on. We will learn how to do this timer. So we'll start the timer here. This is just to remember that we have to change our fuel pump. So I think 5 minutes have already passed since we changed last time. So we're gonna go ahead, and once this hits 10 minutes, we are going to change our fuel tank. Let's use the yoke for once. Also, on my YouTube channel, I will be creating videos on how I used my loop deck live along with 2 iPads to create a complete G1000 NXI setup, having PFD on one and MFD on the other, and using the knobs and touch buttons on loop deck to serve as all the buttons and knobs on those. And I've been using SpadNext heavily. I tried to learn that software a little bit, and it has really helped me map a lot of my keys. Like, it has made my life so much easier. It has helped me move away from the mouse so much than I used to before. So all those things really worked out well for me. Right now, using my Bravo Throttle Quadrant, also one of the best purchases that I did for my birthday was the Bravo Throttle Quadrant. I am absolutely loving that. Before, I used to use the Airbus, the TCA throttle, which I still have, and I think I'll use with Airbus A320. But I think having the Bravo Throttle Quadrant, it just gives you so much independence. It gives you so much opportunity. Like, you can map every single aircraft. You can map whatever type of aircraft it is, using so many of the levers that they give. For flap, speed, brake, like, you don't have to worry about anything. You really can fly any plane using Bravo Throttle Quadrant. So if you are looking for a throttle quadrant and you're confused which one to get, I would say just close your eyes, go for the Bravo Throttle Quadrant. You will never go wrong with that. It is a beast because it has the autopilot knobs as well, which is obviously not like so good, but still it's really, really good. It works. And then you have so many switches. So if you're really thinking about getting a throttle quadrant, I would highly recommend using the Bravo Throttle Quadrant. Let's open up our cameras and have some fun. Move this away, and let's see. Very sunny. Also, another thing you can do using the SpadNext is basically you can have all of these, I think it's called MIP or FIP, displays on your iPad or another screen, whatever screen you have connected. If you have multiple screens, it gives you a lot of room, and you can literally like map out each and every button on screen that you see. Like, I have so many buttons and knobs mapped out using multiple input devices. I have a Logitech multi-panel that I use for autopilot, and then I also have a loop deck. A loop deck was such a good purchase. So I bought the loop deck because I do a lot of video editing. I'm a wedding videographer and I do edit a lot of wedding videos, and that helps a lot with the knobs and touches and everything. Using whatever software you use, it helps a lot. But then one day I was just thinking, I was googling, because we have the knobs, we have the buttons on the loop deck, so why can't we just map it to Flight Simulator? And then I found a really good tutorial. I forgot the YouTube channel, but I found how you can create the buttons and how you can map the knobs to G1000 or any knob that you see on screen here using SpadNext. Now you have to purchase SpadNext, but it's worth the money. It's really worth the money, because what you can do with that, you can save so much money. I had an iPad, my wife had an iPad, so I didn't have to spend much money for those, so I just brought those two together. I mapped the loop deck and I have fully functional G1000 NXI right in front of me without spending the pro kits that you buy for $2,000, $3,000. And I will definitely create a tutorial on YouTube, so keep an eye over there. Once I get done with this stream, I will restart the stream for our on-air manager hops with Kodiak 100. Haven't flown that in like about 2 days, so can't wait to fly the Kodiak 100, my most favorite aircraft in the flight simulator. So make sure to follow my Twitch, subscribe to my YouTube channel to stay ahead on all of those streams and videos. Let's quickly have a look at our navigation data, I'll say. So we are around 26 minutes away and 50 nautical miles. So once we go, let's see, so we have covered 35 nautical miles so far, and we still have 26 minutes there, and then 12 minutes to reach to Atlantic City. So another, I believe, 40 minutes and we'll be at our first destination airport before our final destination. So our first leg will be complete. We going from Long Island MacArthur to Atlantic City. So the second leg will be flying from Atlantic City to Salisbury Ocean City, which is, I believe, in Delaware. Yeah, down the coast. So for that, we are going to fly using two VOR. Now these two VORs are very redundant, I would say. Both of them have a range of 40 nautical miles each, and we have to basically fly 80 nautical miles. I believe that's why. So first we are going to be setting up our nav1 to Atlantic City. Now this is for leg 2. I'm just talking about it so I have it in my mind as well. So first we're going to be setting our Atlantic City VOR, and from there we're going to be tracking 226 on our course to towards Salisbury. Now once we get to that half point, which is crazy because it is literally like half, so once we fly for about, I guess, 40 minutes, wait, let's see, 80 nautical miles, yeah. So once we fly for about 40 minutes, we are going to switch to our nav2, which will be set to Salisbury VOR to track 226 as well. So 226 from Atlantic City VOR would be the from course, and to Salisbury it will be the to course. So at midpoint we'll have to change our navigation system because the range of the VORs are only 40 nautical miles and the total distance for our flight is 80 nautical miles. And the Salisbury VOR is right on the Salisbury airport as well, so we don't have to worry about anything there. And then from there we'll go to Richmond International in Virginia, to Durham International, I believe that's in North Carolina. From there, yeah, North or South Carolina, I forgot. But from there we'll go to Florence, Charleston, Savannah. It's gonna be a really fun one. I just hope there is not gonna be bad weather. That's all I'm hoping for. Other than that, it is gonna be a very fun one for me, and it will definitely teach me a lot about VOR, I'm pretty sure. Let's look at the timer. So we are almost at 10 minutes. We can go ahead and switch our fuel tanks, and to check our fuel we'll remove this. So right now we are at our left tank, so we can go ahead and switch that tank. So we'll bring our yoke back about 9 minutes. We'll just reset, stop, reset, and let's change our fuel pump. So auxiliary fuel pump can come to low, and we'll switch it to our right tank, and we'll start here. Let's check all our instruments. Engine instruments, nothing has changed. Fuel pressure is still good. Oil temperature is good. Everything looks good. So the pump can come to off. Another 22 minutes before we get over our VOR, and we'll change our direction to 210. We'll be tracking 210 from Charlie Yankee November VOR towards Atlantic City International. I'm really bad at doing traffic patterns because I get confused, how far should I be from the runway? How do I actually measure the distance? So what I'm going to do is I am going to try to find out. So let's go ahead and try to find out our meter information, if it is available to us. I believe it's not. Yeah, I think the range is like about 35 nautical miles. So we do not have that meter available yet. Can we do something else to get it? Actually, I think we can. So the VFR map. So let's go ahead to VFR map. So what we can do is KSCY. If we click over there, we should be getting, so it's 240 right now. 240 at 8, gusting to 19 knots. And the runways available is 22. So I believe we're gonna have to take the runway 22. Oh, it doesn't really show that, but yeah. So we're gonna be taking runway 22, which shouldn't be too bad for us. It should be quite an easy transition because we are currently tracking at 240. So we're gonna be crossing 22, and then we can just maintain that distance, take a U-turn, and head back to the runway. Because the wind is coming from 240, so we will definitely have headwind. Yeah, I believe that's going to be our plan. So initially our plan is to use runway 22 for landing. Okay, this VFR map helped. So what happened with the Flight Simulator default VFR map is that the working title team, who has done such a great job with the G1000 NXI, they also helped, let me just bring it back. They also helped Microsoft Flight Simulator, Microsoft adopted this feature from them, where we can click and get more information, just like this. Right here we can see all the meter information and all that. What we can do is we can go ahead and set our altimeter here to 3013 or 3031. So we're gonna go ahead 3031. Okay, we have 3031 on our altimeter, so we are good. And let's go ahead and check our instrument. 19 more minutes and 36 nautical miles. So from there, looking at the picture, it's gonna be about 23 nautical miles towards our airport. We still didn't capture the second nav that we have, which will definitely show over here even if we are not using it. So my plan is, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the runway heading for runway 22, and we're gonna set it up in our second nav to track 22. So this way we know what is the runway heading, and based on that we can maybe decide how far we want to be, because there is a VOR station in Atlantic City, so we can take advantage of that. But once we are in the range, this the nav2 indicator, it will start moving as it captures, and it will probably be 2. Yeah, it will be 2. So that way we'll be tracking the second VOR as well, but it won't be actively tracking because we have set, if I show you here, so this switch actually decides which one to follow for the autopilot, so it's set to nav1. So we are not going to be tracking nav2 at all for this flight, because the range is more than enough. Like, yeah, the range is 130 nautical miles for the Charlie Yankee November VOR, which is around only 20 nautical miles away from our airport. Currently we're flying at around 4,300 feet. We are going to descend. We're going to start descending once we cross our VOR. So we'll slowly start descending. About 500 feet per minute should be good until we reach around 2,500 feet. And then once we cross our airport, we decide what runway to land on. We'll start descending towards traffic altitude, which will be around 1,000 feet, 1,050 feet, and from there we can continue descending towards the runway. Seven minutes, so we're gonna switch the fuel tank in another 7 minutes, so in total 15 minutes. It is recommended on the manual to change the fuel tank every 15 minutes, so we'll do that. Also, we are only about 15 minutes away from our VOR before we start tracking 210. Look at the beautiful coastline in New Jersey. So what I'm gonna do right now is, okay, that's a bit weird, but I think that's because of the wind or something. But yeah, let's go ahead over here. I'll move it a little bit. So this one we're gonna set it to runway 22. So we're gonna set the heading to the course to 22 for our nav 2. That way we know how we are aligned with the runway. So I have this set. I have that set to 22. And if we move over here, we are around 11 minutes away from our VOR, cruising at 117 knots and 22 nautical miles away. So we're 11 minutes. We will switch our fuel tank pretty shortly, and all our engine instruments are looking good. Manifold pressure, we are at nearly 30, and our RPM is at 2300. All of that looks good to me. We are facing some really harsh wind, I'm pretty sure. Yep, we are definitely facing a lot of wind right now. So our initial plan is to start descending down once we hit our VOR to about 2000 feet. And we're gonna be cruising at 2000 feet until we cross our airport, and then we have already pretty much decided what runway we're gonna use to land. So let's go ahead and check the meter one more time. Let's try our nothing yet, as I believe it's 35 nautical miles, and our airport is still away from 35 nautical miles. So we'll wait on that to verify and confirm exactly what runway we're gonna land at. Right now we have an idea on what runway to land on, but we'll confirm it once we get our meter, using the meter toolbar, not the other way. Because usually I feel like in real life also, I have no experience, but I feel like that's how it would be done. Once you're around 30 nautical miles away from your destination airport, you decide what runway to land on. "14 minutes. We can go ahead and switch our fuel tank. So fuel pump is gonna come to low, and fuel selector will go to left pump. And we can stop the timer, reset, and start again. Engine instrument and everything looks good, so we can go ahead and turn off our fuel pump. We are very close to our VOR, so once we cross our VOR, we are going to set 210 as our track, and I think our second nav has become active as it shows 2. Yeah, so it has captured, and we are definitely not in the middle, so we don't want to be. Our runway is, so we can really say what like where our runway is situated based on this. I mean, not accurately, but it's a VOR still away from the center of the airport, but we can have an idea, because once we are turning around, we can definitely line up with the runway and all that, so we'll be good. Really excited about the landing, because this is gonna be the first time I'm attempting something like this, where I usually fly the Kodiak 100 and you set it up the usual runway setting on the GPS, and you don't really have to do that much work until you're around 1,000 feet above the ground. So right now we're around 4,300 feet above the ground, and we have our altimeter set to our destination airport, and we will soon, in about 6 minutes, we are gonna start descending down towards 2,000 feet. You can see the second needle slowly moving, because we are tracking 220 on our second nav. We are basically tracking the heading of 220, and for our active navigation, nav 1, we are tracking 240, which is going to change to 210 in about 6 minutes when we cross over the VOR. I really hope I come out of this bush trip with a much better understanding of how VORs work and how to tune them and set them up for your flight. So we are around 2 minutes away from our VOR, as we can see over here, 4 nautical miles, and everything else looks set. On the nav2 needle, we can see that we want to track 2-2, so we'll definitely, it's on the left side, more on the left side, but once we cross from there, we're going to be tracking 210, so our runway will be on our right hand side. So to make a left hand traffic pattern, we'll have to adjust all of that. This is going to be really fun. I'm very excited and at the same time nervous on how the landing is going to go, because I haven't tried it before. I should have, but we'll see how it goes. There is some deserted airport right down here. Let's try to see which airport is this. If we can bring up our map. We're currently overflying it, so we can go ahead. Nothing. Or I guess it's loading. Oh, NJ20 is it? Yeah, so right now we're straight up flying towards the VOR, which is somewhere around there probably, and this is NJ20. New Jersey 20 airport, and it is completely abandoned. Very interesting. Or is it? I mean, it could be just a VOR airport. VOR. Could be just a VFR airport. People doing random things with experimentals. Also, I do have the experimental of Kit Fox, the Freedom Fox by Parallel 42. What a plane to fly. It is so fun. Well, we are right over the VOR, so we're gonna set our tracking to 210. There you go. So whenever you're crossing over the VOR, just like our aircraft did, it will wiggle left and right to let us know we are flying over the VOR. And if we go to our nav1 display here, we can see it switched from to from. So now we're tracking 210. So we're tracking towards the runway, towards the airport, and it is very important that we check all the data right now on our KN or navigation data screen. So we are 1.6 nautical miles away. Our airport is gonna be, if we look at the image, 23 nautical miles away from our VOR. So what we are going to do is we are going to turn off our altitude hold, and we're gonna trim for 500 feet per minute descent. So I'm gonna cut off my power a little bit, and we are going to descend down. That's a lot, so just gonna watch my vertical speed indicator and try to keep it at around 500 feet per minute. And we're going to descend down to 2000 feet, which should keep us away from all the airspace. And that's something that I have to focus on. I have to start learning about those, and also we have to start using VATSIM for these flights. I'll try to do that, but let's see how that goes. So we're descending at about 500 feet per minute, and our airport is going to be within 20 nautical miles. What we can do to make our landing a little bit easier is we can switch our VOR once we have the runway on site or the airport on site. We can switch our VOR to, or our nav, to the second nav, which is set for the Atlantic City VOR, which way our aircraft is going to start tracking the runway heading, and then we can make a easy left hand turn. I think I'll try to do that. everything is basically set. We just have to switch the nav next to the autopilot panel, which I have already mapped to my auto throttle knob or switch in the Logitech multi-panel. So we are at around 3000 feet, descending down towards 2000. The pitch of this aircraft is sublime. Like, it does need a lot of pitch trimming, but once you trim it correctly, it just holds onto that. Beautiful. We are about 12 minutes in, so we are going to switch our fuel tank one more time. Once we hit that 14 and a half or 15 minutes time, so we're going to switch. Right now we are in the right tank, and we are at the left tank, and we're gonna switch it to right tank. We are crossing through 3000, or is that 2000? Actually, yeah, we are at 2000, almost at 2500 feet. So we are going to trim ourselves to get to level flight, and we'll have to trim one more time as we increase our speed. We're gonna cut it down a little bit. Yep. So we're going to trim ourselves back to level flight. We gained about 100 feet of altitude, so we're gonna cut on that. We should be around 10 to 15 nautical miles away from our airport. Oh wait, we decided to go down to 2000 feet. Never mind, my bad. I'm gonna cut down the power one more time with then main full pressure of 20 to 35 to 20. So we're gonna keep on descending down towards 2000 feet. So we are almost at 2000 feet. We are at 2100. We're gonna increase the power. That will bring our trim up, and then we just gotta bring it down back to level. I'm just looking at this right now, so that way I know how much I have to trim. And we are at about 2000 feet, so we're gonna keep the trimming to about 0. And time to switch our fuel tank. Auxiliary fuel pump can go to low, and switch. So we can stop that, reset, and start again. Yep, we are on the right tank right now. So we have trimmed it, and we should be around 7 nautical miles away from our airport. Once we have our airport on site, as we discussed, we are going to switch to our nav too. Or do we even have to? If I feel comfortable visually, I'll just go ahead, do the whole thing visually, and if not, then we'll just use the VOR, as there is one. a lot of trimming is necessary in this aircraft. A lot of wind too, which is why we're really struggling right now. Auxiliary fuel pump can go to off as everything looks good. I actually forgot about that. There's a small light over here that tells you, so that helped. Ooh, definitely some winds playing with the pitch of our aircraft. We'll try to keep it there, not using the autopilot right now, at least for altitude hold. So I'm gonna keep it there. Let me quickly check. We're 18 nautical miles away, so just about 5 nautical miles away from our airport. Let's try to get the METAR, and yeah, there you go, 4 nautical miles away. 240 still, we are good with runway 22. I think the airport might be on our left. Yep, that might be our airport. And that might be the runway we are deciding to land on. Right on the corner, if you can see. Right there. So we can go ahead. I believe we are here. 20, yeah, that's 3 nautical miles. We should be here. That is our runway right there. The taxi was, I'm just so confused right now because the taxi was, okay, we're gonna turn off our autopilot, cut down on power a little bit, and look, yep, that is the runway. So we're gonna go ahead and turn from here. That is the runway we are trying to land at, so we have that on site. We'll start descending. Oop. Cannot go too low. That's one of the things in this aircraft where we cannot go too low on throttle, as that will start it just gives you a warning because we have a landing gear, so it will start retracting the landing gear. So we're gonna go at about 1,000 feet and we'll stay there. We'll soon make a turn towards our downwind, so let's go ahead, try to maintain the vertical speed of about 500, I think so that way we can put our flaps down as well. So this should, whoop, that was a bad one. Yep, this should put us parallel to our runway. We're going to be flying just a little bit on this heading, and we are at about 1,500 feet. So let's make another turn. Put our heading back to 22, so that way we know. Yep, our heading bug, and now we should be parallel to the runway. Okay, 1,500 feet. We are going further down, and flaps 1 can come. Flaps 10. Flaps is set to 10 degrees. We're still gonna descend down slowly. Yep, we can go ahead and make this would be basically our base turn. Our runway is pretty far, so we'll keep turning until we see our heading bug parallel. Not parallel, I think. At about 90 degrees, which is right here, so we're gonna fly straight and then we can turn final. I can see the runway, so that is good. We're still descending down, going towards around 1700 or 700 feet, I would say. Still going 500 feet per minute. Our runway is on sight, so that is good. Just trying to keep 90 degrees. I almost had a mini heart attack because the game just suddenly froze and I was like, nope, not having a CTD when I'm about to finish it. We switch to nav 2. Nothing happens, that's fine. So once we are parallel to the runway, we will go ahead and start landing. We can go ahead, put our landing gear down in just a bit. Okay, there is some issues going on with the sim. Come on, not towards the end of the flight. We are at about 1000 feet. Descending further down. Almost. We'll turn to our final in just a little bit. Really struggling here, I feel. If I use the pitch trim, that should help. Yep, we can turn final. And we're at 700 feet, so we'll go ahead and put our landing gear down. Oh, we overshot it just by a little bit, so we should be good. Still, we can fix that, not by too much because we have a lot of distance. That's the reason why I did it, so I believe that's the way to do it going forward. Also, my sim is just acting so weird. I'll put some power on. We can put our flaps further down. Cut down on our speed. Auxiliary fuel pump. Or fuel pump can come to low. Whoa, okay. This sim needs to chill. Come on, after streaming for more than an hour, I do not want a CTD. That's all I'm praying for. So our fuel pump has come on. We are about to land. We are on a long final. And the winds and the simulator itself is just playing games with us here. We can put our flaps to full. RPM can go full. Propeller max. Once we land, we can open our Navigraph chart and taxi to general aviation ramp. This landing is not gonna be good, is it? That wind is trashing us. Okay, we're about to have a good touchdown, a little bit of crosswind. And there you go. Oof, I slammed it. And we landed. Wow. Okay, that was not as bad as I was thinking it's gonna be. But hey, we successfully landed. So we're gonna apply brakes here, and we're gonna take this turn to taxiway right here. So fuel pump can go off. I'm actually happy. That was not too bad. Fuel pump can go off. We'll get out of the runway here, and then we'll open our Navigraph charts. Okay, there you go. Exit from runway done. We survived. So let's go ahead, bring our Atlantic City charts, and we'll go to taxi charts. So we are right here, terminal. We're just gonna go near the terminal area. So we're gonna go straight on Bravo, then take a turn on Lima. Sounds like a plan to me. So let's go ahead. Put just a little bit power. And we're just gonna go straight ahead and take a turn on our right. That was actually not as bad as I thought. Like, I was really worried that my sim is gonna crash for some reason. It just started doing funky stuff. See, and still is doing, but at this point, like, even if it crashes, I don't mind, honestly. Because we have landed, we have completed the flight. So the VOR is basically on our right. So I think this house has the VOR. Or I don't even know if it's supposed to be covered or not. But yeah, that looked like it has something, because on the chart it says that there is a VOR right there. But hey, I'm actually really happy. We managed to do a full flight without a CTD, and we even managed to do a little bit of a traffic pattern, if you will. It was a really long final, but hey, we made it. We made it down. So we're gonna take a turn. I mean, we can take a turn on Papa and then take a left turn on Mike. So that will also put us right next to the terminal. But no, we're gonna move a little bit more to the left. So we're gonna take a Mike and then go left again. Or actually right, yeah, we're gonna take Mike and then we're gonna go right to one of the spots over there, and we'll park. I've really enjoyed this flight. At the end it became annoying, a lot of pauses and stuff with the simulator, like just now, but we made it. I'm really happy. We can go ahead, pull up our flaps. Actually, I keep forgetting that. So flaps are up. We are going to take a right turn right here. Actually, we can't. We'll go straight down towards the terminal and then we'll take a right. Yep, I can see one of the person over there, so just going to go ahead. Not here. I guess I'll just take a crazy turn over here, and we're gonna park right in front of that guy or girl. Well, we can just go ahead and park right here. So throttle all the way back, parking brake is going to come on, and wow, I'm really happy. We made it. 15 minutes right after we change the fuel tank, so we can stop here, reset. We don't need that anymore. So slowly let's shut down the aircraft. So throttle down, propeller can come all the way down, and mixture can go low. We're gonna turn the magnetos off, and we're gonna turn the alternator off. Our lights can come off. Fuel tank selector will be off. We'll just put it on the left for a bit right now, and this can go off. We can put wheel chocks if we want, so let's go ahead and do that using the tab over there. And finally we can put our, is there anything else left? Parking brake is on. Yeah, everything else looks good, so master switch can go off. So that is it for this flight. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, because I really did enjoy it. It was really fun flying VOR to VOR, and I learned a lot even on the first flight, and I'm really excited for what's to come in the future streams. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next stream.